Ciao ragazzi! This video will explain how to use il gerundio, which is called the gerund in English. The gerundio is probably something that you have come across a number of times without understanding exactly how it works. So the aim of this video is to explain how and why the gerundio is used in Italian. The present tense and the gerund are closely connected, so let's look at some English examples. In the present tense, I write. In the gerund, I am writing. In the present tense, he speaks. In the gerund, he is speaking. Present tense, we laugh. Gerund, we are laughing. And present tense, they run. Gerund, they are running. So as you can see, in English, the gerund is the ing form of the verb. So in both cases, the events are occurring in present, but the gerund has a greater sense of immediacy than the present tense. The gerund is what is happening right now, what is in the process of happening. So to use the gerund, we need the following formula. The present tense of the verb stare plus the gerund form of the main verb. So before we continue, we should really look at the two Italian versions of the verb to be. In most cases, to be is translated as essere. However, there are other cases where we use the verb stare. So essere is really used for more permanent conditions. So for example, you would say sono italiana or lui è un tipo intelligente. So obviously nationalities and personalities or personal characteristics are not really likely to change. With stare, on the other hand, we use this for non-permanent conditions. So, for example, sto molto bene or lei non sta bene oggi. So the way you're feeling is more likely to change in different situations or on different days rather than your nationality or your characteristics, your personality. So stare is the verb that we need to use with the gerundio. So it works like this: io sto, tu stai, lui lei sta, noi stiamo, voi state, loro stanno. So getting back to our formula, we need the appropriate form of the verb stare. So sto, stai, sta, stiamo, state, stanno, plus the gerund form of the main verb. So for are verbs, our endings will change to ando. For example, pensare becomes pensando. For ere verbs, our endings will change to endo. So, for example, prendere becomes prendendo. And with ire verbs, our endings also change to endo. Finire, therefore, becomes finendo. So to summarize, are changes to ando, and both ere and ire change to endo. Okay, so let's look at some examples. I am talking. Sto parlando. You are talking. Stai parlando. He is running. Lui sta correndo. She is running. Lei sta correndo. We are sleeping. Stiamo dormendo. You are sleeping. All of you are sleeping. State dormendo. And they are laughing. Stanno ridendo. So as is the case with every new tense or mood that you learn to use in Italian, we need to look at some irregular forms. So surprisingly, in the gerundio, essere and avere, our two most common irregular forms in other tenses, are actually regular in this case. So essere simply becomes essendo, and avere becomes avendo. A positive aspect of the gerundio is that even though there are some irregular forms, there aren't very many and they are quite predictable. So bere, to drink, becomes bevendo, fare, to do, facendo, dire, to say, dicendo, tradurre, to translate, traducendo, and introdurre, to introduce, introducendo. These irregular forms have generally come about because they are based on the older original forms of these verbs. So bere used to be bevere, and fare used to be facere, dire, dicere, etc. So you may remember this from when we learnt to use the imperfetto earlier on. So it's now time for you to put this new understanding into practice. You may want to watch the video again and take notes or screenshots of the important information, and write down any questions that you have to ask your teacher. Arrivederci e buon lavoro.